Hello, Icewing Nation. Back at it with another Speedpaint. This time it's the part 3 of redoing the freaking Hawthorn drawing thing. So I did the vague sketch based off of the originals, vaguely, maintaining the pose, changing some things, mixing some colors. I thought I liked this version, changed it to make it, added some blues. I don't know the exact thinking behind that. I don't think I really like the dead leaves look of the first one. And thus ended the easiest part of this. Which was just the vague coloring. It only got worse from here. So I did the little red vein things, and then I decided I want to do that on the wings, lean in a bit more heavily into the red that's associated with Hawthorn's color, and shading. There was so much shading in this piece. So with this one, the first shading was the individual colors, each got their own version of shading to mess around with. And it was kind of playing around with some textures, especially as you can see with the frill thing. You can really see that there were textures being messed around with. So right here, it was trying to make it blend into it, kind of lean into the aspect of it being pretty dark, the wings. Even further amplified by this right here. Adding in some much needed additions to the shading, and eventually clearing it all up, which it looks very satisfying when you do it here, but in the actual act it takes forever. So this is just adding in slight changes and cleaning up some areas. I decided that I didn't want to use quite as saturated colors as I was used to for the actual character. Desaturate most of it and have things like the white of the flower and the white of the eye really stand out. Also, the bits of red, make that not exactly stand out, but be slightly more visible. Right here, adding in the next part of shading and lighting. I have done lighting, a grand total of, I don't know what it is, but it's in the singular digits. So I was very worried on making this look realistic, especially since at this point I did not know what I was going to do for the background. Messing around with colors slightly. There are a lot of flickering things. So background, I got the idea to do fire, to do the burning poison jungle behind them. So there's me messing around with fire because I don't do fire a lot. Then to get to the trees, I have a vague way that I do trees. It's not a good way, but there's an attempt. So each of these trees was moved around a lot to figure out what I wanted to do, and I gave them the same base color, but then turned them all individually different colors. Then we get into the shading with the tree. The tree doesn't have line art per se, but it has vague shading and then the little details to make it kind of stand out. I use the flat brush for this, and the rest of it's just the inking brush, or Procreate brush, one of the two. More shading. So I started off with the ones that were going to be closest to the fire, as you can see right here, before going into the ones behind. That's why the ones behind are darker, to have that more accented shadow, because they're further away from the fire. Then I got the idea to do this, which is basically just selecting the area and then turning it off the actual color of the tree, because it's harder to see when you're working with the near black on both. That's the grass brush. Adding a little lighting onto the trees. You don't see a lot of the trees. Kind of going vaguely around this. I don't normally do shading. and now there's a lot of flickering as I compare the three. And one little aspect that I just like to say that I liked in the end was that Hawthorn's face almost kind of resembles a skull with the shading. Anyway, I hope you liked this. I love to draw it. Hopefully a couple animations will be done soon. And as usual, have a wonderful day/night. And remember, like, subscribe if you want to, because the algorithm kind of sucks. Okay, bye.